Good day, everyone. I'm Mr. John Christian Itosino, your English teacher. Again, this is English 7, Week 6. Our topic, phrases, clauses, and sentences. This lesson explains the forms, differences, and relationship among phrases, clauses, and sentences. This also highlights the ways in writing and forming phrases, clauses, and sentences. At the end of the lesson, my dear students, you are expected, first, to define and differentiate phrase, clause, and sentence. Second, identify phrases and clauses used in a sentence. Third, differentiate the two types of clauses. And the last one, write meaningful sentences. I think you are ready for a lesson. So let's talk about learning task 1. The direction is, read each group of words, identify each group as to phrase, clause, or sentence. In your notebook, classify them by completing the table below. For this learning task, please refer to your module for week 6, page 26. Again, learning task 1, you just need to classify the words, whether they are phrase, clause, or sentence. Now for learning task 2, the direction is, identify what is being asked in each statement. Choose the letter of the best answer. Write your answers in your notebook. Please refer to your module for week 6, pages 26 to 27. So after completing this learning task, I think you are now ready, or we are now ready to discuss our main topic for today. Let's first define what is phrase. Phrase is a group of words that stands together as a single grammatical unit, typically as part of a clause or a sentence. It cannot stand alone, as it does not contain a subject and a verb. It does not give a complete idea. It usually consists of an article, preposition, or noun. A phrase acts as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb in a sentence, so it can also be defined as a group of related words which lacks a subject and a verb that acts a single part of speech in a sentence. So again, when we talk about phrase, please be reminded that it is a group of words. It can be part of a clause or a sentence, but it cannot stand alone. Why? Because it does not contain a subject and a verb. And because it lacks subject and a verb, it does not express a complete idea or thought. So aside from that, a phrase can be a noun, an adjective, or an adverb, or it consists of an article, a preposition, or noun. We know that all these are part of the speech. That's why we can also define phrase as a group of related words that acts a single part of speech in a sentence. So let's see the examples on the table. This is an example of phrase because there is no subject here nor a verb. Second example, finish the task. There is no subject here. Christine and her friends, no verb at all. So at this moment, let us now define what is clause. A clause is a group of words having both subject and a verb. It can sometimes act as a sentence, but it's not always the case. Again, a clause, it is also a group of words, but it has both subject and a verb. That's why sometimes or often it can be a sentence, but it's not always the case. So there are two types of clauses. The first one is the independent clause. It is the one that can stand alone as a sentence. It requires no extra information to understand. It has a subject, a verb, and a complete thought. So again, the first type of clause is the independent clause. That's why it is called independent, because it can stand alone. Why? Because it expresses rather a complete thought or idea, because it has subject and a verb. Examples are in bold letters. After I die, I will be forgotten. So I will be forgotten is the independent clause in this sentence. Because I will be forgotten, or that particular sentence is a subject and a verb. I, which is a pronoun, is the subject of the independent clause. Will be forgotten is the verb in that independent clause. The second example, I love my country, so I will make sure to protect its sovereignty. The independent clause here is I love my country. Again, the subject is I, the pronoun I, and the verb is love. The third and last example, when we pay our taxes diligently, it shows that we love our country. It shows that we love our country is the independent clause because it has a verb and a subject. It expresses complete thought. The second type of clause is the dependent clause. It is the one that cannot stand alone as a sentence. It is called dependent clause because it needs to be attached or joined to an independent clause. It is a supporting part of a sentence. Dependent clauses begin with subordinating conjunction such as before, if, when, after, so, hence, therefore, since, because, so that, etc. So in the case of the independent clause, again, it is a clause that cannot stand alone. Why? Because it needs to be attached or joined to an independent clause. And always be reminded that dependent clauses begin with subordinating conjunction. So the examples of subordinating conjunctions are as follows, or as stated, as I stated a while ago, before, if, when, etc. So let's see the examples. The bold-faced clauses have a subject and a verb, but the idea or thought is incomplete. Again, the examples, it has a verb, it has a subject, but the idea is incomplete. The first example, after I did my best to study, I received high marks. After I did my best to study is the dependent clause. After is a subordinating conjunction. That's why it is a dependent clause. Second, because I woke up late, I was not able to pass my projects on time. The dependent clause in this sentence is because I woke up late. Because subordinating conjunction 2. Before you leave the classroom, make sure to turn off all the lights. Before you leave the classroom is the dependent clause in this sentence. It starts with the subordinating conjunction before. So those are the types of clauses, the dependent and the independent clause. So now let's define the last topic for our lesson today, the sentence. So what now is a sentence? A sentence is a set of words that contains a subject, what the subject is about or the topic of the sentence, and a predicate, what is said about the subject. As such, a sentence contains a subject and a predicate that expresses a complete thought and begins with a capital letter and ends with a full stop, a period, a question mark, or an exclamation point. So a sentence is a set of words that contains both subject, which is the topic of the sentence, and the predicate that tells about something about the subject. So as such, as stated here, it expresses a complete thought or idea. And be reminded that it always begins begin rather with a capital letter and ends with a particular punctuation mark, like a period or statement, question mark, or question mark and exclamation point. So let's see the examples. Everyone needs food. Are you okay? Look out. I like you. I study hard. When the teacher makes the subject fun, we learn a lot. As a Boy Scout, you should know how to pitch your tent. She failed to read the directions. That is why she got lost. I was very tired, so I decided to stay at home. So those are the few examples of a sentence. So now, I think you fully understand what is a phrase, what is a clause, and what is a sentence. So for learning task 3, the direction is to complete the sentences, match column A with the most appropriate word group in column B. Write the letters of your answers in your notebook. So please refer to your module for week 6, page 28. So that's learning task 3. For learning task 4, in your notebook, copy the sentences and underline each dependent clause. Please refer to your module for week 6, page 29. So in learning task 4, you need to copy the sentences and then you're going to underline the dependent clause in that particular sentence. For learning task 5, in your notebook, write CS if the sentence is complete and write IS if the sentence is incomplete. Please refer to your module for week 6, page 29. So in learning task 5, you just need to write CS if the sentence is complete or expresses a complete thought or idea. If it does not, write IS. So after accomplishing this task, let's again see or review what is a phrase versus a clause versus a sentence. So here is a table that shows the different descriptions or definitions of a phrase, a clause, and a sentence. So let's discuss first a phrase. So a phrase, again, is a group of words. It is incomplete thought or idea, no subject and verb, but it is part of a sentence. Now for a clause, it is a group of words too, almost complete thought or idea. Why almost complete thought or idea? Because again, there are two types of clauses, the dependent and the independent. The dependent clause, it does not says a complete idea or thought, while the dependent or the independent rather expresses a complete thought or idea. That's why the description here is almost complete thought or idea. It has a subject and a verb, and it is part also of a sentence. The last one is the sentence. It is also a group of words. It expresses a complete thought or idea. And because of this, it has subject and a verb. And be reminded that a phrase as a clause is equal to sentence. Because again, the phrase and the clause is a part or are part of what we call sentence. So I think you really understand what is our topic for today. So for learning task 6, or let's go to learning task 6. The direction is identify what is being asked in each statement. Choose the letter of the best answer. Write your answers in your notebook. Please refer to your module for week 6, page 30. So this is a multiple choice activity. Then for the last task, the learning task 7, the direction is fill the blanks with group of words to form meaningful sentences. Write your answers in your notebook. please refer to your module for week 6, page 13. So the last task, the learning task 7, this is somehow completing a sentence or completing an idea to form a meaningful sentence. So you need to fill the blanks with group of words so that that particular sentence will be meaningful. So again, please refer to your module 4, week 6, page 13. So I think after accomplishing this task and after discussing what is a phrase, clause, and sentence, I think you are now ready and fully understand our lesson for today. So thank you very much, grade 7. Thank you for your listening, or thank you for listening to our topic. And I hope you learned a lot for our lesson today. So, and always remember that all the studying you are doing will be worth it in the end. So good luck.